You're listening to Tech with Heart, empowering business success in a digital era. Sponsored by Revelio, innovative software solutions that make your business come alive. Here is your host, international best-selling author, speaker, female tech founder, and innovative expert, Michelle-Calloway.
Welcome to the Tech with Heart Empower event. We host these events once a month, and it's all about bringing each other together. We talk about a topic that is relevant. It's going to allow you to embrace technology, because 90% of small business owners do indeed struggle with embracing technology in their small business. We talk about concepts and strategies, and then if requested, we then take it into a workshop. So you are going to absolutely love our guest speaker today and the topic that we're covering, because podcasting is a fantastic way to raise your influence as a thought leader if you host a podcast. But we actually are going to teach you how you can make money by simply speaking and showing up on somebody else's podcast. So that's wonderful. I mean, you're not even having to do all the work. You just show up and you share your amazing expertise, and you do it in a way that our speaker is going to share with you as far as how to stand out and how to come up with some ideas to monetize those appearances. And that itself, without you going through the work and creating a daily, weekly show, you have the ability to attract all kinds of clients and make money from being a guest. So the Tech with Heart Network is our entrepreneurial program within the Tech with Heart nonprofit foundation. The Tech with Heart Network is all about empowering entrepreneurs to embrace technology so you can stay competitive and relevant in a rapidly changing digital environment. The special guest that we have today, I am so excited because her energy and her personality and her knowledge is going to just you're going to be so glad you showed up here today. So I'm going to introduce you to Suthar. She comes from an event background and a sales background. And what she saw during the pandemic, as most of you saw too, was this huge shift to more virtual events. Well, she figured, I should be able to do the same thing in a virtual world. So she went ahead and started reaching out to seeing if she could speak on other people's stages. And she kept getting turned down. So then she figured something out, and that's what she's got all kinds of special sauce systems, and she's got her own trademarked system that I've never heard of before. That's why I was so excited to bring her on the Tech with Heart show first, and now on the Empower event. So what she was then able to do was to get booked on over 100 podcasts in 3 months' time. Wow. And on top of that, she's figured out what works and what doesn't work when it comes to actually making money. So I am so excited. She started her own podcast, and she actually started her own Make Your Mark podcast agency to help all of those who really want to have more of impact by getting their message broadcast on bigger platforms. But then how can we make more money doing so? So welcome to the Tech with Heart Empower event, Suthar. Yay!
Oh my goodness, that was some sort of introduction, Michelle. Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here today. How's everyone feeling? Great. Okay, brilliant. You guys are all on mute, no worries. So just to kind of give you a bit of background regards to me, I am based in the UK, London. That's why you're probably thinking, why is she talking so funny? I do have an accent. People keep telling me that, especially when I'm speaking in the US. But I want to speak to you about getting booked on podcasts, because getting booked on podcasts means that you're building your business, you're building your brand, and you're building authority. And that's why it's so important to actually start getting booked on podcasts. Now, with a show of hands, how many people are actually getting booked on podcasts? Yeah, a few of you. Okay. Well, the people that didn't raise their hands, we need to start getting you booked on podcasts. And for everybody else, get booked on more. And the reason why I say that is because podcasting, right, it helps you go from invisible to visible, right? You're reaching a global scale in the comfort of your own home. And not only that, once your podcast episode is out there, it's evergreen. It's out there forever. So even though you've done an episode a year ago, there might be more people listening to it 2 years, 3 years down the line, because once it's out there, people, right? And what we're trying to do here is we want to start planting the seed. Okay, so it doesn't matter how big or small your business is, we want to start planting the seed and grow your visibility garden. And you're probably thinking, wait, hold a second. Podcast isn't video, it's not visible, it's all audio. And in fact, that's not true. And I'm going to be speaking to you about that a little bit later on. Okay, but when I mean about your visibility, I mean you want people to start saying, oh, Michelle Calloway, I've heard of her somewhere. Syndrome. You want that syndrome, right, people? And so this is what podcasting does for you. And so there's a couple of things I want to kind of pinpoint as to some of the mistakes people make and some of the things that you need to be doing to actually get those yeses from the podcast host. Because in fact, even though there's 2 million or over 2 million podcasts out there, there's still so many more guests that are trying to get on these podcasts, which means there's a huge competition out there. So we need to make sure we stand out from the crowd and that your applications get shifted to the top rather than the bottom, okay? And so some of the mistakes that people make, well, firstly, what I've seen, and I just want to let you guys know that I'm not just a guest on different podcasts. I actually have a podcast myself called Uncensored Society Podcast. You can go and check that out yourself. It's all about business. But the first thing that I've noticed is that so many people out there, when they reach out, right, whether it be through message on LinkedIn or Instagram or through email, the biggest mistake they make is a copy and paste message, right? And you don't want to make it a generic message. Please don't do that. You want to make sure you personalize it. So the lack of personalization will actually hurt you and your business, okay? And one of the things that I always say to people is, if you're going to be reaching out to a particular podcast to be a guest on there, please, please, please make sure you listen to 1 or 2 of their episodes, okay? Not only will this help them, but it also will help you to see whether the podcast's personality is actually going to suit your personality. And also kind of find out what kind of topics they're actually releasing on their podcast. Is there any episodes on there where someone talks about something similar to your topic? And if they do, that's not necessarily a bad thing, okay, guys? That means that if someone is talking about similar things about what you want to talk about, that means that podcast host is looking for you, is looking for exactly what you want to be talking about. So reach out to them. But what you do here is you give the podcast host a different perspective on the previous episode. Okay, see if you can bring something else to the table, some sort of other value you can bring to them and their audience. People always love hearing about a different perspective on things. Okay, so don't be afraid to reach out, but make sure you personalize it. And also, the number one thing here is that you want to make the podcast host happy and their audience happy. Remember, when you're getting on these podcasts as a guest, it's not about you guys. Right? It's not about you. It's everything to do with the host and their audience. And that should always be in the forefront of your mind. Okay? So make sure you get out there and speak about topics and make sure you're giving value. That's number one. Okay? Now, the second thing that I see people doing is all of a sudden they get on these podcasts, they get accepted, and they're tense up. Right? Or they turn into a robotic person, or they turn into this perfect person that they think that everybody wants to see, when it's not true. They want to see you being authentic and genuine. Just be yourself, guys. Now, I will tell you this. Mistakes will happen. No matter how much you prepare, mistakes will happen, right? And I want you to embrace that. And what I mean is, well, like I was saying earlier, not all podcasts are just audio only anymore. It's evolved so much that it can be video, right? It can be, live. And I don't want you to be scared away and thinking, oh my goodness, I can't do video. I can't do live. I'm not ready for that. Listen, you're not going to be ready until you start doing it. So just get going, okay? And you're going to learn from your experience. You're going to learn from your mistakes. And I'll tell you something. I remember the first time I did a live podcast, I was so excited. Super, super excited. I could see all these comments coming through. People were loving my talk. And all of a sudden it happened. my mum knocked on the door. She goes, "Oh, just to let you know, I've done your laundry and put your underwear on your bed." Oh my goodness. I wanted the ground to swallow me up whole, right? I was like, I could not believe this just happened. But what came to a shock to me was what happened next with the audience. All of a sudden, these comments came in even faster. And I could see them coming in saying, "Oh my goodness, she's so genuine, she's so authentic. I love her. I want her on my podcast." I couldn't believe it, right? So all of a sudden, what I thought was a massive mistake was actually a blessing in disguise, thanks to my mum. Right? I should get her to do this every single podcast I do, right? And then all of a sudden, at the end, the podcast host loved it so much and they thought it was so hilarious. He actually had a 3-day event and asked me to come and speak at his 3-day event. How amazing is that? So many different opportunities are out there, but you got to get yourself out there in front of people, right? And make those mistakes, right? Have fun with it, embrace it. And so just be you. And the more authentic you are and people can see your personality, it is contagious. People are going to want to spend more time with you, want to know more about you, more about your business. And so what that means is, you could get potential clients, not just guest appearances and get booked on events and, newsletters, or have your program put on their membership program. Like, all these things are completely possible. And I know because it's happened to me. And all you need to do is make sure that your personality shines and you get yourself out there and, give them value. Now, the third thing is the follow-up. People tend to think, "Oh, I've done the episode, it's all been recorded, it's going to be released, and that's it." No, what you got to remember is when you get on these podcasts, it's about building relationships, right? Because you don't know who you're going to be speaking with. You don't know if this could be the perfect person. That could be a partnership, right, with your business, a collaboration, a JV, right? It could be anybody out there. And in fact, I've had a few collaborations with podcasters that I've been a guest on, and it's been an amazing opportunity. And I didn't even think that things like this would happen until I got myself out there and started talking to people and find out what else they're doing, right? So start building that relationship, because you never know who they are, what they're doing, or who else is in their network that could potentially, be a referral to you. Okay, so make sure you start building those relationships, guys. And so the follow-up, no one at the end, right? Once you've done your episode, even I've experienced this as a host myself, very, very few people say at the end to the podcast host, "Oh, how do you think I did?" It's a very simple question to ask, but no one asks it. Right? Ask them for feedback. Where do you think I could have done better? What was good? What else would you have liked me to have said? What else would have your audience benefited from? What other information? Not only can you make tweaks in your script, so when you go onto other podcasts, you can get better and better, but it's also going to help you realize, what kind of content do people need? What else do I need to add in there? What do I need to take away? Right? So make sure you ask that question. And so once you've asked that question, guess what your next question is going to be? So generally they're going to say to you, you are amazing. That was so good. I loved it. Then you turn around and say, "Oh, do you have any other referrals that I could maybe be a guest on someone else that you know?" And why that's important? Because guess what, guys? All podcasters know other podcasters. So if they feel that you were amazing, they loved your value, your personality, and they've already told you that you're amazing, right? There's no reason why they won't refer you to somebody else or put you in contact with somebody else, right? And this is how you start doubling, tripling, quadrupling the amount of appearances you have on podcasts, because now you're not doing so much of the hard work that you were doing initially and finding these podcasts. Now you've got these other podcasters that are referring you to others. Okay, so that is going to be a shortcut. The other thing a lot of people don't do, and this is something that Michelle mentioned, is I have a system called the CTA Pulse Detection System. Now, when you go on these podcasts, please, please, please always have a lead magnet to give away. Okay, whether it be an ebook, a checklist, tools and resources. People love all these things. Okay, you want to start building your email list. And you don't just want to go on podcasts, right? Give out all your information and that be it. You want to start building your email list. Or if you already have an email list, adding people to it, new people. And so giving away a gift of some sort that also will help them and benefit them and give them further value after your talk is a great way for people to download and for you to start building your email list. Because that way, once you've got them in there, you can then contact them, right? Sell them on your program, see what else they need. Right? So you're not just doing this talk for nothing. You're actually building on your business as well. Okay? And the very last thing, the one thing that I guess a lot of people kind of, I don't know, get shifted under the rug or they forget about. But when you go on these podcasts and you're giving them the link to your free gift, right? Make sure you've created some sort of tracking link. That way you can find out for yourself which podcast, which one of your talks, whatever topics it is, you might have 3 different topics, which one is working. You can start tweaking and tracking and find out where you're getting more of these people from which talk, which podcast. So then that way you can start strategizing a lot better yourself and being, okay, maybe I shouldn't be targeting Australia because that's not really working. Maybe I should just be targeting US and Canada, for example, or maybe I should do talk 2 rather than talk 1 and 3. That isn't getting me too many downloads. And so you want to start tracking because, guys, you know what? Numbers is everything in business and numbers don't lie. Numbers do not lie. So you want to start tracking everything. And like I was saying, it doesn't matter where your business is at. Whether you're, just starting out or you're scaling or you're already making millions in your business, right? We've got multimillionaires that are getting on podcasts. There's a reason for that, guys. There's a reason why they're doing this because it works. And so you want to start generating, getting yourself booked on podcasts, building that, oh my goodness, who's Joe B? Who's Paula Roberts? I've heard of her somewhere. I've heard people talking about her. I think I saw her name on a graphic that I saw on LinkedIn about her being on a certain podcast. You want to build on that. The minute people start talking about you, oh my goodness, you're winning at life. You're totally winning at life, okay? And so you want to be building on that.
Being able to do business online is crucial for survival, especially during times of social distancing. So how do you survive and thrive in the sea of digital noise? It's a lot like fishing. You need to know who your perfect customer is so that you could use the right kind of lure to attract them. We help you catch your perfect customer and retain them for future sales through highly converting websites, influencer mobile apps, getting you featured in the news and on TV. Hi, my name is Jerry Bowden, U.S. Army veteran and president of Revealio Software Solutions. Our goal is to help you rise above the competition, be seen as an expert authority in your industry, and embrace technology to stay competitive for long-term success. It's more affordable than you may think. So reach out to us at revealio.com and together we will make your business come alive.
Good content, good tips, strategies, good energy. Thank you again for being our guest today. I do want you to raise your hand digitally using the reactions tool on your Zoom window here, and we will take them in order. I do want to point out a few things. So Kay's the strategist and sales expert, and I can help with some resources that'll help you do some of the things that she just suggested. And one of them is I would like you to all Take a minute if you don't already have it prepared, because I do a lot of virtual networking, and networking is a really great way to get discovered and be invited onto somebody else's podcast based upon what you say and share in your breakout groups or whenever you get a chance to get out onto the stage. So just even attending networking events is an opportunity to more or less kind of be on somebody else's stage. Or think about this for a second. You're here at the Tech with Heart Empower event. We do these once a month. I've created a stage, more or less. It's a virtual stage. You're here. We're going to give you each a chance to get it, to introduce yourself. And so it is an opportunity for you to say what you believe based upon your past experiences on what others need to hear about the problem that you solve that will help them identify right away whether you would be indeed a good fit for their show. And also let them know that you are a speaker and I'm open to, being a guest on anybody's podcast in this room. So if you have your intro information, please paste it into the chat. And for those of you who are new to saving these chats, there are 3 little dots at the bottom right of the chat window that will indeed allow you to save this chat to your computer. Or I believe, I think it downloads it directly into a Zoom folder on your computer. So with that, let me just make sure I'm in chat here. Where's the chat? Here we go, chat. So I'm going to paste my information, and guess what? I basically am inviting anybody who believes that you would be a great guest speaker on the Tech with Heart show, which is all about, remember, it's all about the audience. It's all about empowering entrepreneurs to embrace technologies, systems, and strategies to move the needle, to help them to grow and to be competitive in today's digital environment. So I'm really not wanting to talk about things that worked 10 years ago. I want to talk about things that are working today that you want to become known as an expert in and also give value to our entrepreneurial audience. So there's a link there. You can click there. You can reach out to me and let me know that you'd be interested to be on the Tech with Heart show. That was one resource. The other resource I'm going to give you right now, before we open the floor for questions, is my friend Kimberly. She is you think Kay has good energy? This woman here that I'm going to share with you, she is off the charts. She is all about elevating anybody who wants to step into a speaker role or to just get more recognition and gain more influence in the online world. She's created a weekly, mine's once a month, hers is weekly. It's called Speakers Playhouse. Let me see here. You can go to this link right there and it's free to attend. And basically what she does is she gives everybody an opportunity to get up onto the stage and pitch yourself either as a show host or as somebody who's seeking to be a guest on somebody else's podcast. So when you go to pitch yourself, make sure again that you understand who your target audience is, because you want to make that very clear. And also the topic that you would talk about and how that solves the problem that that target audience is having. So great resources there. And I am going to go ahead and let you know one more way for you on the tech side of things to track. Remember, Kay said that you might want to start tracking which podcast lead magnet is really, has the most bang for the buck kind of thing, right? So one of the easiest ways to create a unique link that can be, you can leave yourself notes as far as what link was for what event and what audience and what the message was that you talked about that time, is bit.ly, bit.ly. It's free. And it's kind of a way to add a UTM code for those of you who are in the marketing world. It's just one way. I'm just recommending it because I've used it. And when you create a bit.ly link, you create a free bit.ly account. Every time you go to give a show host a link, because they usually want to gather that information ahead of time, you just send them that bit.ly link that inside of your bit.ly account you've assigned to that particular show, and remind yourself or somehow in the title of it what you talked about.